It's a new point of view to chew over what's new to you. Shoot the breeze, make buddies, and Melissa MC's families, memories, original artist series.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. How's everyone doing today? I am so excited for tonight's guest. So I'm not sure if some of you that live in New York have had this happen to you. I was told by a good friend, his name is Garfield. I'm still trying to get on the show. Melissa, you're going to do well in New York because you have a big personality. Now, I have, after COVID, a big few other things, but big personality, you know, I wasn't sure if I should take that as a compliment. But then I've almost been here 20 years, and this is when my big personality came in handy. About 6 years ago, I was at an event at Bobby Brown, where I worked, and I still work for Estee Lauder, but at the time I was working at Bobby Brown. And I also do a lot of work with our employee resource group, Welcome, which supports the LGBTQIA plus community. And I met 4 individuals that will forever be in my life, but also have given me so many wonderful gifts. And tonight, we're going to meet one of them. We were at this event, and we were talking about what event are we going to do next for the ERG. And they were like, you know who you should have? Now, this is 2014, I believe, maybe 15. I think it was 14. You should have Nathan Manske from I'm From Driftwood. And I was like, what's that? And so obviously, you know, you do a Google search. It's not very hard to find pretty much anyone these days. So fast forward, I believe it was 2 years later, maybe a year and a half, we had Nathan come and speak to our ERG at the GM building on the Clinique floor. I'll never forget it. We had Chocolatina sing, do the hors d'oeuvres, and he gave a fantastic presentation that shows his videos. Now I'm going to let him tell you what his organization is all about. But tonight I get the opportunity to interview him. And his job in life is to interview people of the LGBTQIA plus community to raise awareness. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Nathan Manske. Hi, honey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well.
It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you too. Yeah, I just saw, as a few days ago, the Facebook memory popped up, the photo of us at that event. And yeah, it was so much fun. Chocolatina had an amazing performance, and cupcakes that she made were very good also.
So many cupcakes. It was so much fun. Yeah, so I was thinking about how to intro you, and I just, you know, it's just remarkable in New York how if you know, are in the right place at the right time, you end up meeting the right people. And so many times that's happened to me, but this definitely was a very special moment because you've become very important in my life. And I know Ingrid and Connie and Kevin and Bill all feel the same. So thank you for taking your Saturday night. And I see you're ready for the holidays.
It's so funny. I couldn't resist. Like I just moved in this place a few months ago, and you know, obviously with COVID, it's, you know, things can get pretty depressing pretty quick. And I, you know, last year had some roommates, and I don't this year. And last year we all did the tree together, and this year I was like, you know, I'm just not going to decorate or anything because it's just me, and I can't have people over to decorate. And a few days ago, I was like, what am I doing? And I went to get a tree and decorate it, and it lifted my spirits. So yeah, so I really leaned into it. So figured I would set a warm, cozy, you know, stage.
A warm, cozy tone. I love it. I love it so much. So before I go into my deep dive of questions I have for you, tell everybody who you are and where you work. And then I want to talk about your award. So first, tell us, what is I'm From Driftwood?
I'm From Driftwood is we're a nonprofit organization that collects and shares first-person LGBTQ stories. And that sounds very broad and maybe a little vague, but you know, we really focus heavily on storytelling itself. And we, you know, meet people who might be interested in sharing a story, and we coach them in a few different ways. One is that we help them think of what story they want to share. We encourage people to share any story from their life involving them being LGBTQ+. And we do that because we want to kind of veer away from the traditional coming out story. So we're not a coming out story site. We're, you know, a queer story organization. So, you know, we help people think of what story to share, and then we spend a lot of time helping them learn how to tell a story. You know, the word story is thrown around so much, and there's a lot of different meanings of what a story is. But, you know, we put a lot of work into helping the storyteller tell a traditional story, which has a beginning, middle, and an end. And there's a conflict and a resolution. There's 5 beats to a story. There's all this like stuff that we normally don't tell everyone about, that because we don't want to intimidate them. You know, it kind of seems like an assignment. But we know what we're getting out of them by asking questions, and it's kind of like breadcrumbs to get them to tell a complete story through questioning. So and then we typically meet them in their own environment, a home, or, you know, we filmed yours at Stonewall, which you know, we'll talk about later, I'm sure. You know, at different locations, because we want it to feel like a part of them, and it's not like on a set or a stage. It's a part of who they are, you know. So if we were to film my story, and I don't know if I'd want like a Christmas setting per se, but it would be in my home, you know, and somewhere where they're comfortable to share a personal story. So so that's how we collect the stories. We have a program director. His name is Damien. He films and edits all the stories. So we use cameras and microphones and lights. We really want to make sure that we give the stories the respect and care that they deserve, because we film them and edit them, and then we publish them online, and then archive them and preserve them forever. So, you know, we want to make sure that the stories get all the care and respect that they deserve. So, so that's it in a nutshell.
The name, where did you get the name?
Yeah, the name. So I was inspired by a photograph of Harvey Milk. And I had just seen the film in 2008 called Milk, starring Sean Penn, written by Dustin Lance Black, which won him the Oscar for writing that film. And I was very moved by the film. And the day after watching the film, I was thinking about that photograph of him. And he's in a San Francisco Pride March, and he's holding a big sign that reads, "I'm from Woodmere, New York." And that got me thinking. I was like, everyone associates Harvey Milk with San Francisco, this big queer mecca where everyone is, you know, it's like the big gay city, and that's where Harvey Milk is, and that's where everyone, you know, connects him to. And that's why that sign was, I was just like, what is that? Why is he saying what's Woodmere? I've never heard of that before. But it really struck me, because it's a town that no one's ever heard of, for the most part. No offense to any Woodmerians, but I really connected with that because I was going through this in Brooklyn and New York, also where everyone knows, but I'm not from there. I'm from a town called Driftwood, Texas. And it's a very, 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 very small town. You know, people are like, "Oh, is it a one stoplight?" And I'm like, no. There are no stoplights in Driftwood. Come on. There's a stop sign, and, you know, there's a cemetery, church, barbecue restaurant, and a post office, and, you know, everything you need in life. So, and now a winery. Also, what you need in life. Yeah. So, you know, we're moving up in the world, you know. So I wanted to call it I'm From Driftwood, because Driftwood, I think, is a really beautiful name in itself, and it kind of inspires imagination. And but it's funny, sometimes people you know, we have a lot of events and fundraisers and are used to, and people are like, they hear that story and they're like, "I didn't know that you're actually from a town called Driftwood. I thought it was a metaphor of, you know, drifting through the waves of society." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not that creative. It's just I'm from a town called Driftwood."
Not that deep.
Yeah. I appreciate the compliment, but yeah. So in every story, I really wanted to continue that, and every story starts with a storyteller saying where they're from, to keep pushing that idea that you're not alone no matter where you are or what you're going
Right.
through.
Now, you had an interesting post the other day about recycling, what you used to do with your garbage. Tell us about that, because I thought that really, like, because I'm from a small town in Ohio, as you know, that really rang bells for me. So what was your quote again?
Yeah, so I was saying how all the things we didn't have, like we didn't have a stoplight. We also did not have a waste disposal service or anything. So we couldn't take our trash anywhere. So it's very common in deeply rural parts of, I think, the country, not just Texas,
Yeah.
but where you have a burn barrel. So we,
Right.
our chore was to, we were a family of 6, my parents and 4 boys. So anytime that we always got paper bags from the grocery store because they burn. So, we'd stack up the trash and you take it to the burn barrel and you put the trash in, and you got a burn stick, which is a pipe, and you burn your trash. And, there's a system to it. You have to make sure to stir it and get all the, so it all burns and goes away. And after a while, you have to get a new burn barrel because it corrodes. And so after years and years of burning trash, I'm now paying back by trying to be good about recycling everything. And
I love that. Like, no more burning trash, I'm recycling. Yeah. That's so good. So thank you for letting us know. And I forgot to mention this when we were rehearsing. Your latest fundraiser, kind of going backwards here, you were saying you're doing well. If someone wants to donate, because after we're done, I can do another post. What's the best way that someone can donate to your nonprofit?
The best way is just directly through the website. So if you go to imfromdriftwood.org or .com, there's a donate at the top menu bar.
Okay.
You can just click on that, and it's a simple form that anyone has filled out before. If you've bought anything online, you put in your credit card information or debit card, whatever, and it comes directly to us. So it's the easiest, fastest way. Occasionally we'll have Facebook fundraisers, and Facebook makes it very simple to donate. So, but that's only when we're having active, specific fundraisers. But if anyone wants to donate today or any other time they see this, just imfromdriftwood.org and click donate.
It's .org.
It's both. We have both. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I thought I copy and pasted that.
Yeah. We also have now I think we've got it. I'm from Driftwood.gay. Because they have .gay, and I was like, we gotta grab that. So I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Leona's been doing website design. She designed chocolatinas in COVID. That's been her COVID project, and she's gotten pretty good at it. She's on like her 15th website. But .gay, I never knew that is a hosting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check into that.
Yeah.
So I know it's so funny. Bill made that comment on Facebook about, are you going to sing and dance tonight? Which
nope,
we're not going to do that. But what I do want to talk about. You told me a really funny story about when you were in band. So not everybody sings and not everybody dances. Some people play instruments. And I think I told you my family's career. He owned a music store that he inherited from his father that started in 1937. And their main source of income was band instrument rentals. So with that said, what is your band story from school?
Well, it's funny, first of all, just to think that I was in band because I'm not musically inclined or talented in any way. And, but I was, everyone kind of wants to explore and figure out what their interests are. And I was in middle school. So actually in elementary school, the band instructor from the middle school came to the elementary school with a bunch of instruments and let everyone kind of play around with them. And I was like, oh, the trombone looks cool. And I was like, I don't know, it looks weird and I'll give it a try. So in middle school, I played the trombone and, was pretty good. It was me and a classmate her name was Veronica. She and I would always go back and forth between first and second chair. And we still, all these years later, will sometimes do a Facebook comment about that. And she especially loves this story that I'll tell you now about. I was in, I think, 7th grade, and the school bus picks up all the middle schoolers at the end of class, at the end of the school day. It then goes to the high school to pick up all the high schoolers, and then takes everyone home. So I loaded up my trombone in the bottom of the bus at the middle school. We got to the high school, and all the kids came on the bus, and we were leaving the high school, and the bus driver stopped, pulled over, like right when we were still sort of in the parking lot. He got off the bus, and everyone's like, what's going on? Like some excitement, like it's something different. And he comes on the school bus with this mangled, like, it looked like bad art, or like, I was like, what is that sculpture? But I was like, that looks so familiar. And he was like, whose instrument is this? And I was looking at it, and I was like, it looks like mine, but it doesn't look like it's supposed to look. And someone must have taken my trombone out when they put theirs on and didn't put it back on. So the school bus had run over my trombone and completely mangled it, as getting run over by a school bus is wont to do. And I was like, that's mine. I was like, I don't know why or how my trombone is completely mangled. And I was like, what do you do? I was like, I guess just put it back. Like, can you just put it back in there? What?
Did your teacher believe you?
Well, so the next day and our band teacher was good, but also sometimes you were kind of scared of him, yeah. But he was also friendly, but also, I guess it's what you want from a band instructor. Sure. So I was a little scared, and I was like, Mr. Hopkins, my trombone was run over by a school bus. And it sounds like a lie. Like, it sounds like, it's like, sure, and your homework was eaten by your dog or something. I was like, no, really. So I had to, he went in the back in some closet deep in the corner, dusted off some spider webs, and brought out this like hideous extra trombone that was like, you want the brass, which my previous one was, like polished. I kept it all nice and, shiny and sparkly. And it brings out this silver rusted, like, extra trombone. And I was like, I think Veronica's going to keep first chair. I don't know if I can overcome this. But yeah. And so that didn't specifically end my tromboning career, but, it probably didn't help. Yeah.
So I assume you didn't major in trombone in college then?
I did not. I never picked up a musical instrument again. That was the end of my musical.
Well, that story has had me laughing since you told me the first time. It's just remarkable. I love it.
Yeah.
Then you did go to college, and remind me again where you went to school.
I went to University of Texas here in Austin.
Oh, okay.
I bounced around a little bit. My first semester, right out of high school, I went to a university in West Texas called Sul Ross State University, and It was, honestly, I was remarkably lazy in high school, and remarkably because I knew exactly what I needed to do to get by, and I did it, and I frustrated a lot of teachers for that reason. And they're like, we know you're capable, come on. And I get all A's one semester, and the next semester I get like a 70, and they're just like, ugh. So that did not do well for my GPA. So a lot of colleges, and I just didn't apply to a lot. Like I was, so this one university accepted me, and I went and was miserable, depressed. It was closeted, like out in the middle of nowhere. And it was just like it's too bad because it's beautiful out there. West Texas is really beautiful, but just not that place. So anyway, I came back to Austin, went to Austin Community College for a few semesters, and like applied for UT, and UT said, we will accept you on, I forget what it's called. We'll accept you on a probation period, like you'll be accepted if your GPA gets to this level. And I got like all A's for like the next year, and like did exactly what I needed to do to get in, and got in, and transferred as an English major, and then immediately switched to advertising, and got an advertising degree. So
does it come in handy with I'm From Driftwood?
Oh my God, every day, yeah, so much. And it just because it was well, I worked in advertising for 4 years. So I graduated UT, moved to New York a few months later, and worked in advertising for 4 years as a copywriter. And, so working in the advertising world, you're constantly part of a team. You're constantly like solving problems. You're,
right.
It's like, you never do the same thing twice. It's just like, here is, a client comes to you with a problem or a challenge, and it's like, it's your job to come up with a creative solution, and you have to, So I now like working with like Damien, like we're always doing creative projects. So then, working with a board, I, look at it. The board is, I'm so lucky I have like friends and just people I really respect and admire, and like mentors. And so sometimes I view them as clients. Sometimes I view them as like coworkers and friends. Sometimes I view them as, just different things, which I think is one great thing about the board that I have. So, it's kind of, we're just all in it together, and it have different roles at different times. And, that was a lot of what advertising was like.
Well, shall we show our first?
Yeah, let's do it. So we, this first one, we filmed her story. It's Ashley's, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we filmed it. It was over 10 years ago. So, and people ask me a lot, they're like, what's your favorite story? And I really don't have a favorite one, but this is one that I would show a lot. So,
right. Okay. So as Nathan mentioned, he works with storytellers. And again, it's not coming out stories. They are queer stories.
Yep.
So let's show Ashley Jackson. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
I'm Ashley Jackson. I grew up in Brandon, Mississippi, but I live in Jackson, Mississippi now. I was seeing a woman when I was 21. She was a good bit older than me. But, I was telling myself I'm not really gay. I just like her as a person. And I was seeing a guy at the same time. They both knew about each other. But I was kind of going through the motions with him, obviously, and I really cared for her, but it was a very unhealthy relationship. On my birthday, which is Christmas Eve, I had been out with friends, and they were buying me shots, and it was great. And I'd been out with the guy, and the girl I was seeing came to one of the bars I was at, and she's like, oh, I'm going to take you to go see a friend. It's going to be great. And I was like, I'm really close to home. I've been drinking a lot. I should just go home. And she was like, no, and she convinced me, and so I went with her, and we ended up having a huge argument because she was upset that I was seeing the guy, and I ended up attempting to drive myself home, which I should not have done. I was like, yeah, people get in accidents, they have DUIs, whatever, that's not going to happen to me. That only happens to those other people that are complete idiots, and, that won't happen. I passed out driving on the interstate. I was not wearing a seatbelt, and I fell into the passenger seat as I was driving, and I remember telling myself, okay, Ashley, you're driving, you need to get up. And when I did that, I used my left hand on the wheel as leverage to pull myself up, and I did that, and I jerked the car to the left, and it went over 4 lanes on the interstate and smashed into a concrete guardrail. I don't know how long I was there. I don't know who found me, but I ended up in the hospital for over a week. I had shattered my left ankle. I had 50 plus stitches in my face, and I had to move back in with my mom. It was easy to drink all the time, and that was one thing I could control in my life. I couldn't control the feelings I had for women. I couldn't control what other people would think about me being in a relationship with a woman, but I could drink, and that made me fun, and that made it easier to date guys or to be in reckless relationships and unprotected sex and being promiscuous and all of these things. Having that self-destructive life led to me almost killing myself unintentionally, but you know, driving on an interstate at 70 miles per hour, no seatbelt, and flying across 4 lanes and not hitting anyone else and surviving. If that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. I realized I did that to myself, that I was hiding from who I was born to be, and I couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't live my life for other people anymore. And I told myself, okay, you're gay.
Wow.
Yeah. Her
That
story,
was amazing.
it's just the you know, it's such a, it's a tough story to hear. But it's one of my favorites because of the honesty and the just complete frankness of her story. And, you know, so many times you hear about the dangers of the closet, and it's like being closeted can kill you, and it can, because of it's so destructive and harmful. And, you know, that was such a impact of being closeted and not being able to be herself. And, you know, but I always admired her honesty of telling, you know, being that vulnerable to say that she drove drunk and that she was having unprotected sex. And, but because it was a way to show, like, this is what her life was like, because she was hiding who she was. And I just have always admired her strength to be open and honest about that. So yeah.
Because I had Leonie put it in the stream, so I didn't watch it. So that's incredible. And that's, you know, that's why your platform is so powerful, because there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of people that have done the exact same thing for the exact same reason and would never have, you know, the opportunity or even the courage to say something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big core value of what we do is about empathy, understanding that you're not alone, and that you're not the only person going through what you're going through. And it doesn't mean that everyone is going to be, you know, destructive in that way, but everyone has at some, or maybe not everyone, but I can certainly relate to doing things that were harmful to me to hide who I was. And it's,
Exactly.
and even if you're not queer, like, just people drink to hide things, and it's, you know, people might connect with her on that level, or, you know, any sort of things. But yeah.
Well, we have someone watching that we love very much. Miss Pearl Bennett says hi to both of us.
Pearl, oh my gosh. Hello, Pearl.
You. Yeah, so I believe you showed Pearl's, well, we interviewed Pearl at the Stonewall when we did a couple of those, you know, you would show the story and then the person would come live. And
yeah, storyteller spotlight.
I just love Pearl.
Oh my God. I by far, so I have do a lot of events and in-person things like we did at Estee Lauder. And I show Pearl's story all the time, you know, to where somebody was like, you've shown her story before. I was like, and I'll show it again. And I show it, you know, all the time. It is just such a great example. I was going to send it as one of the stories that we were going to watch today, but I was like, you know what? I really do show it all the time. So I wanted to throw in a different one.
Well, we'll see how much time we have. Maybe I can find it. And we'll show it. So we're on to off graduating from college. Now we're off to New York. Now, a question I asked many of my artists and guests: out of college, did you come straight to New York, or did you have some stops or jobs in between?
Basically came straight to New York. Graduated in May and moved in October. So lived at home for that time, waited tables at the barbecue restaurant in Driftwood, saved up a little more money, and moved to New York with $1,000. And, you know, not, you know, what can that do? But it allowed me, I didn't have an apartment, I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything lined up. I was just, my oldest brother was living there at the time. and was just kept pushing me to, it's like, just move here. Like, you have an advertising degree, let's go, just move here. And one of my professors in college advised us, just move to where you want to work. It's a lot easier to get a job that way, and it's scarier, but just do it. Just get there. They're going to hire someone who lives there than someone from Texas or Ohio. So I did, and so I lived with my brother, slept on his floor, or on an air mattress or couch, whatever, for a month, and then he had a friend who was going to be traveling for a few months for work, and so she needed a house and cat sitter. So I washed her cats and for free, in Brooklyn, and so I was very lucky. And then stayed with my stepdad in another part of Brooklyn for a few months, and so it took me quite a while to land on my feet. Couldn't get a job, and ended up getting a temp job working in the mailroom it was called TD Waterhouse at the time. Now then it became TD Ameritrade, but and yeah, working in their mailroom downtown on Wall Street. And after a while, they were like, "Hey, do you have a degree?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I wasn't really looking to work in a bank. Yeah, as I do. And they're like, "Do you want to apply for a job?" And I was like, at a stock, at a broke, I don't even know what they do. It's funny they even asked me. I was like, "Sure." Like, okay.
What are you?
Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And they trained me how to, do stock buy-ins. And yeah. And I was like, sure.
What do you want to do when she graduates?
Stock buy-ins?
I don't know. It's not with stocks.
Okay. Well, I was.
You can tell me after.
I did it. Yeah, I was miserable. I had no idea what I was doing or the purpose behind it. I was just like, just going through the motions, and it was a very low salary, but I could afford rent. So my brother and I got an apartment together, and
we do that. Yeah, we figure it out. I hear you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Then so it took me a full year. Anytime people are moving to New York, I'm like, give it 18 months to really be fair, but give it a full year. And it took almost exactly a year. And I finally got my first advertising job with the help of my brother's friend hired me. And that really changed everything for me. So, yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So I believe we were going to show one more video, and then we're going to hop into the next phase of Driftwood. All right. Good. Okay. Because I know I have the big word up here called grant, but we're gonna one more video, and then you're gonna tell me about that, and then then we'll go from there. All right. So this next story is Matthew. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we filmed Matt's story about a year ago at a Dr. Jen Hurley had a conference last year called Coming Out in New York, and it was a trans conference. So it was all about the trans experience, and people could go, and there was workshops, and we had I'm From Driftwood had a workshop that Damien and I went to, and shared some stories and met a lot of people who were there. And Matt was there. He was 15 at the time, and he was there with his mom. And we asked them. It sounds very weird. It's like, "Hey, we have a room. Do you want to come up to our room?" And we have the cameras set up, and it's like, it's just to share a story, like, that's what we would do. We'd have the camera set up in the hotel room because the conference was hosted at the hotel. So there were all these people from all over the country who had potential stories. So it worked out well. And Matt and his mom came up, and we got this story that we're about to see.
All right. And speaking of moms, Leonie's mom woke up. She's in South Africa, 6 hours ahead of us. So we have hi mom, and she said that you have a nice voice.
Oh,
maybe you should be interviewed more often.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Mrs. Breitenbach.
All right. So this kind mother let her son come up to your professional hotel room and film the story. And I did watch this one, and it's incredible. So let me share my screen real quick. And we will hop on over there. Share. Okay.
Hi, my name is Matthew Llewellyn. I'm 15 and I'm from Saugerties, New York. So when I was about 12, I think, I was still really confused. We're going into 7th grade when I turned 12. I had no clue who I was. I wanted to think that I did, but I really didn't. I had come out as a lesbian earlier that year. I was in what people would call the rainbow phase, where you're kind of out in the crowd about like everything and you don't shut up about it. I ended up meeting one of my friends who actually introduced me to the world of gender identity. They're pretty much like my brother now, but I essentially didn't know that like there's anything other than male or female. Like I knew trans people existed, but I didn't think that was something to be in my universe. As time went on, I was like, okay, I'm definitely not 100% girl. This just isn't a thing. Because I learned that like besides male, female, trans female, there's like a whole spectrum of other things. And I was blown away. So I sort of swam around in like the field of identities for a while. I was gender fluid for a while. I was XYZ. I was a demi girl for a while, which is like you feel like part of you is non-binary and part of you is female. And then I came out as non-binary, which I came out as to my mother. I think I knew deep down I was really a male. I was really a boy. I had said I was a boy in the mirror before. Like I'd said I was every identity in the book in the mirror before because, you know, I wanted to figure out who I was. And I figured saying things out loud is one of the best ways to become sure of that. I would stand and look in the mirror and I would tell myself, I am female, I am non-binary, I am a boy. I'd say all these different things trying to see what stuck. And I said I was a boy, and that really just kind of, it stuck to the wall. So I knew that that was who I was, but I shoved it deep down in like the biggest pits of denial I had within me because I figured if I identified as non-binary or something like that, my parents wouldn't be losing a daughter, but it was still just close enough for me to still feel comfortable in who I was. Fast forward a few months, identifying as non-binary for about half a year. In June of about 2 years ago, so I got 3 years ago, sorry, I got a drum set for the first time. My mom had either a friend or a relative, I don't remember, who was giving away this electronic drum set they had never opened for $200, which is very cheap. So my mom was like, I'm gonna get you this thing. And I just was kind of freaking out. It wasn't a birthday thing, it wasn't a Christmas thing. This was just because my mom wanted to feed the fire that I had for music. I came home to see this big black electronic drum set, because I don't have a real drum set, all set up. And I learned my first song in a day. The same person who introduced me to the world of gender identity introduced me into 21 Pilots, which the best band of all time. Anyone can fight me on that. And they have this drummer, his name is Josh Dunn, and he had mental health experiences that were very similar to mine in regards to anxiety. And I saw this guy and I was like, I want to be that. Once I picked up the drums, it gave me this feeling like I am Josh Dunn. And it just allowed me to keep pushing forward. And then that gradually inspired like a love for music that expanded beyond the world of drums. And then as time went on, like this is actually a week later, I learned, I was learning my third song and I was playing the drums with my shirt off. I was just beating the crap out of this drum set, pouring out all my emotion because regardless of how I identified, dysphoria was always a part of my life that loomed over me. So as I was beating the crap out of this drum set with my shirt off, my mother walked in. Granted, it was like 1 a.m. I was supposed to be asleep, but I was playing the drums. She was just like, you're gonna wake up your little brother. Then she kind of looked at me, not in a bad way, but she just looked at me sort of not confused. She was like sure of what was going on, but something had changed in the way she was looking at me. And when she walked out of the room, I had already put away my drum stuff and I had crawled into bed. We talked over text for a little while. And she told me that I was her son. And I was really confused because I'm like, no, I'm non-binary. What's up with that? And she was like, no, you're like, this tells me that you are a boy. You're my son. And I sort of still was saying, haha, no, I'm non-binary because I didn't want to have to face all that was going to come after. But apparently to her, the energy I was exuding was like so purely male that she just kind of knew. So later that night, during the conversation, maybe like an hour in, I kind of didn't concede, but sort of accepted. I was like, yeah, Mom, you're right. Like, that's fair. She kind of passed the torch of certainty onto me, being like, here, you can know who you are now. It kind of, everything sort of took that small shift and was in place. And like, it was the last piece that I needed to that specific puzzle in my life. I think I was so filled with emotions that I sort of numbed myself. And then I sort of went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and it was like the world had color. Everything was kind of more real, and it was out there. And, you know, I could sort of see things, and I saw myself in the mirror as who I was, and it was just, I started living my life instead of surviving it. Immediately the next day, I posted on my Snapchat, I was like, hey, so my mom figured some stuff out. And yeah, then I've been out ever since then. I came out to my dad shortly after that, but I've been so lucky to have the life that I do. When I look in a mirror now, besides just wondering if my hair looks good, right now I just kind of see not who I am, but I see the potential of the person that I could become. And that's one of the biggest, most important things to me, because I used to not be able to picture myself waking up the next day. But now I can picture myself living through the years and getting a job and becoming a writer and playing music for a band and doing all of these great things. And it's really just being able to see who you could be rather than who you are at the moment.
So yeah, that's a beautiful story, and something that he said at the end is that he could wake up and look in the mirror and think about not who he is, but who he could become, or the potential of who he could be, you know, as opposed to, you know, surviving another day. So yeah, his story was really, you know, amazing. You saw his mom there at the end, so that was cute also.
That's amazing. Leonie told me it was echoing. That's why I changed the things. Sorry, I had to interrupt it. It was absolutely incredible. It was incredible. So, I'm from Driftwood. You created it. Tell me about the beginning, like the first couple of years.
It was very exciting. The thing about I thought of the idea after watching Milk, you know, the day after thinking about it, and I was still in advertising, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. I want to collect stories and share them. That's what I want to do. But I'm never going to have time to do this. I'm always busy, and, you know, I'm just not going to have time to commit to this. The very next day, I went into my job and I was laid off. This was in 2008, December, so like the height of the recession. And it was right before the holidays, and it was just like, oh my God, I've never been laid off before. I don't know what to do. I also have been thinking about doing this other thing. So my own personal journey, it was really this blessing in disguise of like, I'm now on this other path. And I came home for the holidays and, you know, talked to all my family about it. And, you know, I credit them a lot because they were just, it would have been easy for them to say like, get another job in advertising right now, you know? But everyone was like, go for it, whatever. And I didn't even know what it was. I was like, I just want to do something that I care more about. And I have this sort of half idea, and they're like, chase it, go for it, you know? And, you know, hopefully you'll have health insurance soon because we want you to, but also like, just go for it. And so that's really, and I did. And so I thought of the idea in December and told everyone that I knew what I was wanting to do. And I'm From Driftwood launched in March. So that was 3 months from thinking of the idea to launching it. And it's, some people are like, yeah, they're like, what, any recommendations you have, you know, if I have this idea? And what I tell people is tell everyone you know about it, because I think it's human nature to want to help other people. And anytime I said what I'm looking for, or what if I was just like exacerbated, like, yeah, it's time to start the website, but I don't know how to build a website. And one of my best friends, Rafi, he was like, you know, I majored in computer science, right? I was like, I know, I didn't know that. Like, bad friend, I guess, but awesome. And he helped me like with a website, and that happened so many times with the design. Everything was just people coming together and helping, and the first stories, and that's why it was even able to launch just 3 months after thinking of the idea. Like that's a pretty quick turnaround. So we launched, and I just spent all my days emailing. This is when blogs were like huge, and just emailing LGBTQ blogs and people. Toll Road was the really one that gave it life. He posted about it, and everyone just started submitting stories, and it just started growing. A month into it, I told Marquise, who is a really good friend of mine, still is, but he's become so much more. I was like, yeah, I want to do this video like as a promo for I'm From Driftwood. I want to walk around New York and have people write where they're from or whatever. And he was like, I will help you, but I don't want to do that. Like, I want to, what about this idea of where we actually get stories from people and we film them? And I was like, oh, okay, let's do that. So, because we started only as written stories, which is funny to think about because now we are mostly only video stories. So the video story idea was Marquise's idea, and he's a board member now. So yeah, so that was that's how that started, and we were at that point we weren't even a nonprofit, and then Jason Costa, who's now our board chair, he found out one of his friends submitted a story. He emailed me and said, "Can we get brunch or lunch or something? I want to talk to you about I'm From Driftwood," and it was his idea to turn it into a nonprofit. So, it's
so great.
Anytime people are like, look what you've done. I was like, no, like, it's not me. Like I had the idea, but Marquise had the idea for the video stories. Jason had the idea for the nonprofit. Like it's, and everyone who becomes part of I'm From Driftwood, people just come with ideas, and I'm like, great. So it's, that's what I try to tell people if they ask for advice, is tell everyone what you want and what you need, or not like what you need, like I need this, but just tell people what your idea is, and people will.
Yeah, I'm often pleasantly surprised if you're just honest and open about what it is that you want or need, as you said, how many people are willing to help you. They just want to jump in, for sure.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about the phase before things really took off. And you said that there was a point, like the point where things shifted. So what was that moment? There
was the dark times, as I call them. There was a time where I was really giving it my all, and it just wasn't taking off. It was doing well. Everyone seemed to know about I'm From Driftwood, but it was not taking off as a nonprofit, from a business standpoint, I guess. And I was like, well, I can't keep giving everything. Like it got to the point where I was certainly not getting paid anything. It was just, I'd cashed out my 401k and was like living on unemployment, which was not enough it would almost cover my bills. So every month I was just putting more on my credit. It was just like a nasty situation, but I was okay doing it for a little while, but it got to the point where it was not a sustainable model, obviously. So, and we've been working on a lot of things. Jason and another founding board member, Beth, they had this fundraiser idea of a barbecue, and Jason had a gallery space downtown, and they came up with this idea of a rooftop barbecue. And it's like, how fun is that? An art gallery space, an outdoor space. Yeah. So, it was right around that time, and I couldn't afford rent anymore. So I moved in I sublet my apartment, moved in with my brother and sister-in-law, and for 3 months, so like not like a week, but I was like, hey guys, like with my little like bag, what's going on? And some dog treats, for the dogs. And I just had a meeting with them, and I was like, we have to, if these 3 things have to happen, if they don't, like, I just have to go get I have to stop I'm From Driftwood and just go back to advertising or something. And that's fine. But we gave it our all. We created something that we can be proud of. But the 3 things were, we had to get this grant that we had been applying for or working on really hard and like doing everything right and by the book, and and also like the barbecue fundraiser had to be a success. And there was something else, I don't know, like recruit, and like I don't know what it was, but like these three things have to happen. And everyone was, like, okay, like let's make them happen. Like no one was like, this is it. It was like, but we have to do this. So and they all happened. And getting that grant really changed things, opened up doors. The barbecue was a great success. We met current board members from that bar, Ingrid. We met at that rooftop, and we met another really good friend of mine now who was a former board member also at that barbecue. So all these things just happened. Or actually, Jason's very good about slapping my hand when I say things just happen. He was like, "No, we made them happen. We worked it. We made that happen. We made it happen. It didn't just magically happen. Like it happened because we worked hard on this, and we reaped the rewards of it." So, so it things turned around, and now we have more grants, and our programming is just growing exponentially. And because really at the heart and soul of what we are, we have to get these stories in front of people who need to see them. And so that's anytime we're stressed, it's like, wait, what are we doing? What are we focusing on? Are we getting these stories in front of people who need them? And it's like, great. And this year really has just been our best.
Yeah, you mentioned, obviously, you started an online nonprofit before. This is online is now where it's at, because obviously we are being safe and watching lots of different things at home. But tell me a little bit about, because obviously we've done several fundraisers at Stonewall. We always had so much fun, and we're going to continue to do so when we are allowed, of course. But tell me just your recap of 2020. Of I know it's been a horrible year for some, but I'm not embarrassed to say 2020 has not been terrible for me personally. And I do, obviously pray for everyone who's hurting, but I don't think anyone should be embarrassed about saying that in some way, for some people, 2020 has been a good year. So tell me a little bit about your 2020 recap of some of your success, and tell us about you. We didn't touch on the award.
Yeah. So last week we got, I'll start there actually. We got a YouTube Silver Creator Award, which means that we have surpassed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're actually at like 109, but and that's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are subscribed, and we're just so grateful. And it did feel a little strange because the award came to me as the channel owner of the YouTube channel owner, but I made sure to get 2 more for like Damien, because he creates all the, like, I'm not doing the videos. Like Damien does the videos, Marquise created the videos. Every single storyteller that we feature every week, they are the storytellers. Like it's been 11 and a half years of people sharing their stories, and it's all of them who are getting all the subscribers and the views. And so it's just been that was such a humbling thing to get and milestone to achieve. And so at the beginning, the way we get our stories is usually face-to-face. We sit with people in their homes. And with COVID, obviously, we had to make some adjustments. So, but we also didn't just want to do virtual filming. Like we put a lot of care and work into the quality of our stories. And so we didn't want the quality to suffer by screen recording a Zoom interview. So what we did instead was we created a new program called Story Updates, where we interview previous storytellers and get an update on their story and their life. And that way it's kind of okay to do a Zoom quality video, because you see the actual story. Ashley, for example, was one of our first ones. So the story update would show her story, and then we have an interview with her, like, what's going on in your life. It's like a where are they now, So, and she's married with a child, and it's like, oh, so it's fun to kind of check back, because we've been around for 11 years, so it's nice to see where people are these days. And we've crossed 30 million views on YouTube. 10 of those million have come from 2020. So a third of our views of 11 years came from this year alone. So it's
Wow.
really just, taking off this year, and there's really no signs of slowing down. So
That's incredible.
yeah,
Well, I think we should watch one more. What do you say?
I think absolutely, especially knowing what story it is. Yes.
No, Leonie's smiling. Thanks, Leonie. Leonie's doing my tech over here.
Thank you, Leonie.
She's so cute. So let me adjust. So go ahead and set us up. Then I'm going to adjust the sound before we start the video.
Okay, yeah. So this one is for the past 5 or 6 years, we've been doing a program called "What Was It Like?" and it's stories of LGBTQ elders. And instead of just sharing one story, we would help them think of 5 to 7 individual stories that they can share on their own. So instead of having like one long 40-minute, talking about their life, there's separate videos. So this story is from Cecilia, and she has, I think, 5 other stories on her website. If you just search for Cecilia at our on the website, all of her stories will pop up. But this one is
Cool.
one that stood
One
out.
that you like a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hop on over there. Let me just fix this really quick. Okay. Leonie said there's no sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on a second, guys. I'm so sorry. See, this is why I have her around. Okay, let me start over. Sorry, everybody. We good?
When I was in high school, it was a project, a school project. I think I was like 13, 14. I'm not really sure which year it was. But it was a school project where you had to choose a place in the world and do something about it. So, these kids, choose India and they did this Indian dance, right? Some other people chose Germany and they made strudels, right, with the recipe. And nobody wanted to work with me because I was very weird. So somehow I had to do they were all groups and me by myself. Which I was totally okay with it because I thought like that was totally lame and I didn't want to be a part of any of those lame projects. So I go to my grandmother and she said, well, I think the place that kind of like talks volumes about you is New York. At the time, it was this Gina Easton song called New York. And I thought that was amazing because it was like, not like the most normal song that you hear. It was kind of like very weird. She was saying New York, New York, and I felt like that was amazing. And so she said, you're gonna, you should do a show with that song. I go like, but what are we gonna do about my looks? She was like, don't worry, we are gonna work on this. So she said, your Aunt Maria has wigs in a drawer. She explained to me where the wigs were. She said, she has wigs. I know that she has an appointment next week to the doctor. You have to find out what time the appointment is, and we're gonna go and we wanna steal her wig. At 9:30, we see her leaving, so we go, and we go into this like box, like huge box like this, and we open, and all these wigs were there. And she said, no time to try it on. Just choose the one that you want, and we make it work. So I grabbed the blonde wig, and we go to my house, and she said, okay, let's try it on. So I put the blonde wig on, and it was kind of like this, and it was to here. And I look at myself, and I know, and I feel like, oh my God, this is how I want to look. And she said, okay, you're gonna look like that for one night. So are you ready to do this? And I was like, yeah, perfect. She took this like pinkish sweatpants, and she said, pull them up. So I pulled them up to here. So she said, I'm gonna sew them in all around, like very tight, and we're gonna make a cat suit for you. So that's what she did. She went to her machine and sewed it in. So I put it up, like it was hard to put it up. So she put it up to here, and she said, and from here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna sew this bra that I have. So that it was kind of like stiff bra, right? So she sewed the bra. So it was like a cat suit, right? So she took all her jewelry and started sewing like earrings, in an even way. So, she was put earring. And then she sewed all this necklace from here. So I had all this movement with my new cat suit, right? And she said, we don't have shoes because your feet are too small, so you're gonna have to pretend that you're wearing high heels. So the whole show has to be in tiptoe, so you have to be tiptoeing because we don't have shoes. And I'm like, okay, no problem. She's like, but something is missing, she said. And I'm like, what? I don't know, it needs some kind of effect. My grandmother took this red satin sheet and she said, I'm gonna make you a cake with this. So she, I don't know, she saw it somehow, and she made this cape that was like this. So I was like, had my cape, and we rehearsed. And that day I went to school, and we got ready in one of the classrooms. And she put some makeup on, helped me with some makeup. And she said, are you sure that you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, okay, but maybe people won't understand it very well. And I'm like, who cares? She was like, yeah, who cares? Just go and do it. So I came out with the Nina Hagen New York song, and I did my show, New York, New York, New York, New York. In the moment I look at the public, and everybody was like, what is going on? And and I was looking at everybody, and everybody was like this, and Nikki was my grandmother, yeah, yeah, yeah. So she was like so happy, clapping. My grandmother told me like, don't worry about them. Who cares? They don't know anything. They made strudels. Come on. She said, you were the best. That was the most creative and everything. So who cares about what they said? Whatever. Don't pay attention to that. Because I'm pretty sure like this is a show today, but someday you will be living in New York. And that I know is gonna be the place for you. So somehow when I came to New York, it was kind of like a realization of, all the influence that my grandmother had in my life. And it was magical to talk to her when I came to New York. Say, hey, Grandma, guess where I am? I'm in New York. And she's like, duh.
She is so great.
Just amazing. We had, for our 10-year anniversary, we had a gala event in New York, and we invited her, had her as a guest of honor, and we surprised her with a performance with somebody who performed that song, like inspired by her story, and did a whole number and dance, and Mila Jam directed it, and I unfortunately I forget the name of the performers, but yeah, it was just a
So great.
ode to her and that story.
Now, how old was she when she recorded that for you, or when you recorded her?
I'm so glad you asked, because that was she was I think the first person that we filmed for our What Was It Like program. And it's a series for elders, and I had not seen her in person until I showed up to film her with Damien, and like knocked on her door. She answered it, and I mean, this is probably a little ageist on my end, but you imagine like elders, and you imagine like a white bun, or like I don't know, some old person. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, because she does not look like the stereotypical elder.
No.
And so in my head, I'm like running a million miles an hour. Like, we're going to launch our What Was It Like program with somebody who looks like somebody who isn't what you would typically imagine. And I was just like, my thoughts were racing. We put so much work into this already. And so as we were setting up, I asked her, I was like, I also didn't want to offend her. Like, maybe she didn't know that this is for an elders program. So I was like, so we have options. We have like our normal video story, but we also have this What Was It Like program that's for elders, but there's not like an age to it. And I think she noticed that I was kind of fumbling a little bit and was trying to like dig for something. And she was like, and she just like set the tone, and she said, the average life expectancy of a trans woman of color is about 34 years old, or 34 to 38, something in that range. And she was 44 when we filmed her. And so she said she proudly identifies as an elder for that reason. And I was just like, oh my God, heartbreaking and beautiful. And just, I was like, okay, this absolutely, let's do this. And yeah, it just, it's educational, and it was just a beautiful little moment of filming that series.
It's so great. So great. So, any final comments that we in our last few minutes? This has been so much fun, and time flies when I talk to you. Every time. And I'm so happy, Bill, and I see Pearl is watching, and thank you everyone for tuning in today and sharing with us your time. And so Nathan, besides, definitely go to imfromdriftwood.com.org.gay and donate. Click that donate button. Everything goes to incredible work that you do around the globe. It's not just in the US, it's global. So
yeah, I would say anyone who's watching, I would share your story with us. We're beginning to film stories. We found a new and dynamic way to film new stories that we're going to launch in the new year. So just in about a month, we'll launch our new video stories. And so we're filming new ones. So anyone who wants to share a story, let us know.
Does that, she wrote one more story. Does that, you want me to show one more story, or you want to do your story? Want me to show another story? Okay, Leonie wants me to show another story.
Okay.
I'm not going to show my story. She's so cute. Should I look for Pearls real quick?
If you want, yeah, it should be pretty easy to.
Okay, I'm going to disappear for a minute. I'm gonna
You want me to email it to you?
Okay, that could be quick. That's probably quicker than me pretending like I know how to use this computer, because
yeah, I know how to search. I know how to find it. So
I've been doing this since June. You would think I would have it all together, but that's why I have Leonie. That's why she's so Pearl, if you're still watching, we're gonna show your story. Yeah, Leonie.
All right.
Leonie is a big fan of yours. She's
Leonie is. Let's get your story.
Yeah.
We want Leonie's story.
Leonie, he wants your story. She has her story.
Do you want me to text it to you or email it to you?
She has my phone, so you can email me. Sorry, everyone. Stay with us, everybody. This is a great story. We're going a little bit over, but Nathan's going to email me real quick.
Okay, I just sent it.
Okay. Yeah, so we met Pearl, or I met Pearl, I should say, at the Stonewall, and we have kept up via the Facebook, of course. We have the Facebook connection.
Yeah, Pearl was introduced to me through Sage, which
Oh,
is
I love
Sage is a
Sage.
nonprofit that focuses on LGBTQ elders and community, and they're amazing. And Pearl was the first or second featured "What Was It Like" storyteller as well as Cecilia. So yeah, Sage is wonderful.
Yeah,
And
a lot of our ERG has volunteered several times to do things with them. And one thing I thought was really fun, we did it at the Bumble Auditorium, was the dinner. I can't remember. It has like an official name, but like the dinner where you have dinner with members of Sage and you mix, like we had our group.
yes,
I think we had pizza and salad and wine, but I met some really,
Sage Table.
yeah.
Yeah, it's called Sage Table, and yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay. So let me tell, so Pearl's here. Pearl, we are showing yours. No. I love it that she's watching. This is so special.
I know.
Okay, so I'm gonna do my little sound thing and make sure we don't echo. Here we go, here we go, here we go. We're gonna share audio, see? There we go. So I'm clicking share, I promise. It's not sharing for some reason. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh no.
We can see and hear you, so I'm sure it's still working okay.
It's my computer. That's so weird. I'm locked for some reason. Let me escape. No. Yeah, it's not recognizing my mouse. Here, hold on. I'm going to switch back to my regular mouse. Sorry, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. And we are gonna...
It'll give me some time to throw another log on the fire, my fireplace.
Yeah, I don't know why my mouse is like, it's not recognizing my mouse. That's so weird. I'm so sorry, everybody. Yeah, it's not letting me do anything. Nathan, you stay there. Stay right there.
Not going anywhere.
Do something. Oh wait, it's not even letting me leave. Leonie, what's wrong? I am so sad.
I could share it from my screen maybe.
Oh yeah.
You want me to try that?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. Let me get to it.
Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. I've never had this happen before.
Okay.
Leonie, can you still see me? I can't get there.
So I have the video up on YouTube. Do you want me to start sharing my screen and then I
Yeah,
can just
go
play
for
it?
it. Go for it.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Okay, there's share. I can still see you. Share screen.
But I think you have to share the click the share audio button.
Look for the share audio checkbox on the next window. Okay. 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 Let me know if you can hear the audio from her story.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
I don't hear it.
Okay, so I don't see a share audio.
Oh, this has never happened to me before. I don't know. I'm so like at a loss. Well, I know what I can do. Hold on. Yeah, this is I can't see you anymore because because my Chrome won't open.
Oh, well, how about do you want me to share? I will share Pearl's link in the chat or something.
Yeah. Well, I am going to log in from my phone. Sorry, everybody. See this? This has never happened to me before.
We can also just share Pearl's link,
Yeah,
and then people can watch it.
Yeah, what we can do is share Pearl's link, and then as soon as we're done with the stream today, I will share it. Pearl, I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties are happening to us, but thank you so much for coming, Nathan. I'm so sorry this is happening. This has never happened to me before.
Oh my God, it was so much fun. Yeah, it was great. This was just a bonus video anyway, so we're losing the bonus video, but we got 3 videos. So.
Oh, absolutely. So thank you so much again for coming. You are just a gem of a human and such a great friend, and I'm so excited to spend more time with you in 2021.
Likewise, it was so good to see you. It's always so much fun, and hopefully we'll be in Stonewall in person, hugging and having drinks and sharing stories in person.
All the hugs. So because I can't see you right now, I'm going to say goodbye, but let's definitely catch up soon, and just thank you again. It means the world.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, of course.
Bye.
Bye. So, everybody, thank you so much for coming. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. Isn't Nathan the best? He's awesome. Hey, everybody. I can't even believe I had such technical difficulties. Thank you so much, Nathan, for coming. I so appreciate your time. And thank you, Pearl. Thank you, Pearl. I don't know what was happening, but that's not the norm. But, you know, things happen. Things happen in this digital world. Anyway, thank you everyone for always tuning in. Thank you, Mom. I saw Juan was watching, Bill, and Kevin, and Ingrid, and Connie, and everyone else that I haven't seen that tuned in today. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to end the show. And next week we have Hannah Ingram. She is a good friend of mine. We worked together in the USO in 2004 and 2005. And I'm super excited to hear about her career and everything that's going on in her life. So everyone, please stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and just be kind. Let's all be kind to each other. All right. Mwah. Happy December, everybody. Have a great weekend.
For you, it's a new point of view to chew over what's new to you. Shoot